Good afternoon. Oh man, we can do a little better than that. You guys looking good, smelling good. You know, in football locker rooms, it don't always smell good, right? But it's an extreme honor and privilege to be here. Every opportunity I get to speak, I tell people often, I'm extremely grateful for it because I never thought that I would be doing what I'm doing. And so I understand that it's being guided by a source and by a force that's a lot greater than me. You know, and before I get started, I'm a man of gratitude. I'm a man of respect. And so I understand when things like this happen, it's a lot of people that make it happen. And so from Arcadia to East Coast Grading to Pirate Radio, thank you guys so much for taking time to do this. I greatly appreciate it. And so every single week, someone comes up to me and they say to me, be honest with me, you said you wouldn't change what happened to you. Because it was a big deal when my injury happened and people started questioning me about it. One of my responses was, man, I wouldn't change it. And so people still see me present day. They'll come up to me, airport, out in the mall, baseball tournament with my son, cheer tournament with my daughter. Be honest with me, man. You say you wouldn't change what happened to you. I'm like, I wouldn't, man. And they always say, why? Like, why wouldn't you change it? Somebody will say to me, hey, man, like, be honest. You could be in the NFL making millions of dollars. You wouldn't change it? And I was telling Parker yesterday, I said, because most people just naturally, when opposition, adversity, or challenge is present, most people's perception and perspective goes to the space and place. Okay, what did you lose? What do you have to sacrifice? It's like if you go through a tough time in business, in marriage, in your life, the average person is going to come to you and say, okay, what did you have to give up? Right? What did you lose? The average person is not going to come to a person and say, okay, man, I get it. You didn't like it. It didn't feel good. It didn't play in your favor. But what did you gain from it? Like, how are you a better leader as a result of it? How are you a better son? How are you a better mother? Like, what did you get from it? And so when they're asking me the question, they're asking predicated upon the basis that, man, this guy got a paralyzed right arm and hand. They say, what about the atrophy? I'm like, it is what it is. And somebody always says, like, on that day, did you do anything different? Like, the day you got injured, did you do anything different? Was anything in your routine different? I say, you know what, man? I got up the exact same time. I'm a routine guy. Right? We get to the stadium the exact same time. I wore the exact same pads. I came out on the field, I did the exact same pregame drills. I listened to the exact same pregame music. My song of choice, coach, was Phil Collins. I can't feel that's my joint. I still get stoked when I hear it. Right? Coming in the air tonight, that's my song. Listen to the exact same song. And I went to do something that I had been doing since I was 7 years old. And at 20 years old, when I went to do it in a game against Air Force, fourth quarter of the game, 2 minutes left, outcome totally different. 2 hours later, found myself in the emergency room fighting for my life. I tell people often something happened in my life at a very young age, and it shifted the way that I still live my life until present day. I was just doing an interview with one of the news reporters, Channel 9. He said they're the CBS here, and he was asking me, he said, man, how has it been in town? I said, man, it's actually been great. I'm familiar with the landscape here because one of my cousins came to East Carolina in 2010. I said, I didn't get the chance to make it up to a game when he came here to play football because I had gotten injured and I was focused on my recovery. But I grew up in a 2-bedroom home with 14 people, sleeping on pallets, me and my cousins. The reason I wanted to make it to the NFL, I wanted us to get our own beds. I wanted to pull my mother off the double shift at Wendy's. I wanted to give my grandmother a better living condition. Me and my cousin that came to East Carolina, we used to be in the street every single night playing football, light pole to light pole, street lights pop on, 10 minutes before we had to go in the house. Every single day. Now I would say to him, man, if I make it, maybe we can get our own beds one day. Man, if I make it, maybe I can improve our condition. And their responses were automatic. Yeah, Ink, that sounds cool, that's cute, but we're not even playing organized sports. Like we're playing in the street, man. He opened his door, got out of his truck, walked around, stood directly in front of me. He said, son, first and foremost, you can't disrespect me. I love you. First man to ever tell me he loved me. He said, what you got, Ink? I said, why do you live life the way that you live it? I said, why do you treat people the way that you treat them? Why do you do things the way that you do them? He said, I'm going to share something with you, and I don't want you to ever forget it. And in its simplicity, it was yet profound. And all he said to me was, as long as you can live your life and make sure that somebody else's life is okay, he said, son, God will always make sure that your life is okay. And he got in his truck and he left. And it shifted the way that I viewed sports and everything I was a part of. I was sharing with the team yesterday. I said, man, I stopped viewing sports as a game a long time ago. I view sports the same way I view this stage. It was a platform I got provided, cultivate a certain level of excellence and greatness. One day when I was done with the game, certain things I could extract from it to apply to other areas and aspects of my life to make me somewhat of a decent human being. It was always about the type of person that I wanted to create through the vehicle of sports. Like I got a 13-year-old son, 14-year-old daughter. 11 months apart, Irish twins, give me and my wife a run for our money every day of the week. And me and my son was coming home from a workout a couple months back, Saturday morning, it's storming in Atlanta. And we're getting off on our exit, and as it's storming, my son is telling me something that happened in the gym. And we're coming up on a red light. And as we're coming up on a red light, an 18-wheeler comes by us. And when an 18-wheeler comes by us, pushes water our way, my truck does a slight shift. And when it does the slight shift, my truck ends up in a full-blown hydroplane. And I'm like, no, man. Like we're on a ramp. It's a retainer wall. I'm driving a truck. My truck is taller than the retainer wall. If me and my little man hit this wall, it's a nice possibility we're going to go over. And I don't know if me and my little man are going to make it. And as we're spinning, something hits my spirit. It says, let go of the wheel, Ink. I'm like, I can't do it. Like, if I let it go, I don't have another hand that I could grab the wheel with. I can't do it. And we're spinning, and my son says, Dad, I feel like we're about to die. And it hits my spirit again. Let go of the wheel, Ink. I feel it. And I'm like, I can't do it. And it's like the false sense of control, like we feel like we have in life. Right? When life is asking us to let go of old environments, old habits, old people, and we're like, I can't do it. But every next level of our lives demands a new version of us. So in order to go up, we have to be willing to let go of something. And when it hits me and my son says, Dad, I let it go. And when I let the wheel go, we spin, we hit the retainer wall, and instead of flipping over, we flip in the opposite direction. Flip, land upright. And when we land, I pop my door, I run around to my son's side, check on him, he's good. I grab my phone, I call my wife, say, hey, babe, me and Ink just had an accident, probably 5 minutes away from my house. She's like, okay, I'm on the way. I hang up, I say to my son, Ink, we got to find a way to get out of this rain, buddy. And we're looking across the breezeway. Truck is totaled. And as we're looking across the breezeway, it's cars passing. And a white car pulls up, maybe 15 yards away. Guy rolls his window down, and he yells out, hey, Ink, you good? I said, yeah, we good. He said, I'm going to pull over. I'm going to help you and your son get out of the rain. I said to my son, I said, man, that's nice of that guy. Go over, walk to his car. I said, hey, man, I live 5 minutes up the road. My wife will be in a sec. He said, no problem, man. Just get in the car. Get out of the rain until she gets here. My son gets in the car. I go to get in. My son says, Dad, your arm is bleeding really bad. I say, hey, brother, I'm going to just pace, man. I don't want to drip any blood in your car. My wife will be pulling up in a sec. He said, no problem. Give me a second. I'm going to get out with you. And as I'm pacing, I had never been in an accident like that before, John. And I'm just pacing, looking at the truck, and a gentleman comes up behind me, and he taps me on my shoulder. And when I turn around, he says to me, you don't remember me, huh? I said, nah, bro, I can't say that I do. He said, you really don't remember me, huh? I was like, nah, man, He said, really? I said, bro, I just almost flipped off a bridge. I don't remember nothing right now, man. Give me a break, bro. I don't remember nothing, man. He's like, all right, give me a second. He said, I'm going to run to my car and get my phone. I was like, all right, cool, man. And I'm pacing, and he comes back up, and he taps me on my shoulder. And I turn around, and he puts his phone right in my face. And it was a picture. Me and him hugged up, smiling, cheesing ear to ear like we were brothers. And he said, last year was the roughest year of my life. He said, and I met you in the airport. He said, I'm sure you meet a lot of people, man. He said, you were nice, you were kind, gracious, and you took this picture with me. He said, when I walked off, the only thing I said was, life, just let me see him again. He said, when I saw the truck flipping, I didn't know that was you. He said, this is my exit too. He said, I didn't know that was you until I saw you run around, and when you were taking your son out of the truck, he said, I saw your arm. He said, I was like, man, that's ink. He said, all life was given me was what you gave to me over a year ago. The law of reciprocity. In life, we get what we give, how we treat people, how we do things, how we respond to things. But we live in a world that's so transactional that when people don't get the result they want, they waste the experience. I tell people all the time, man, I don't travel and try to tell people how to do what they do. I don't disrespect people in that way, man. But I do understand this to be true about life. In life, people don't burn out, people don't quit, and people don't shortchange because of what they do. In life, people burn out, people quit, and people shortchange because life makes them forget why they do it. Like when you see a person and they first start something, you're like, and that's phenomenal. That's the spirit, man. That's incredible. Then a month later, a year later, you're like, man, what happened? What happened to the fire? What happened to the passion? What happened to the love? It's like I tell athletes all the time. I say, man, you could take a kid that's not as talented, not as gifted, not as skilled with the correct perspective, and an individual that's highly skilled, highly talented with the incorrect perspective. The kid that's not as talented and not as skilled with the correct perspective, he'll dog him every day of the week. Not because of talent and skill. His perspective about what he's doing is in order. Perspective drives performance every day of the week. How we view what we do will always affect and impact how we do what we do. My only ask of us, as talented, as gifted, as skilled as we are, let's never allow life to make us forget why we show up and why we do what we do. Because if we're not careful, one of the easiest things in the world when people are talented and skilled is to allow our talent to take us to a place that our character can't sustain us. But when we got character behind everything we do, it brings things into perspective. It helps us show up and do things a certain type of way. But most importantly, we always have gratitude and humility for why we show up and why we do it. Every time I talk to my buddies, the first thing I say to them, day one mentality, man. Day one mentality. Because on day one, when somebody starts something, not only is there fire, dedication, commitment, at the foundation is humility. And when humility is present, it doesn't matter how much success a person has had, how well they did last year, what happened 2 years ago. When humility is present, you always feel as if you could become better. You always feel as if you could do things a little bit better. And you always show up with the spirit ready to work. Add value to everything we do. Add value to every environment we go into. Add value to every life that we get in contact with. That's my time. God bless you. Thank you.